because people work really hard. And I know the budget time is a really tough time. But, you know, we're asking for $323,000. Can we get a quorum of people at town meeting to say, let's move that money over to the school? Make some harder cuts on the town side, unfortunately. But I think this community values education more than some of those other town-wide services. If you cut 6 teachers, if you cut classes, there's going to be more kids running around town, driving up the police car, you know, trashing Ipswich River, things like that is all going to affect other town systems. And if you keep them in school, keep them educated, maybe they won't get into as much trouble. Maybe they'll be better citizens around this area.
Thank you.
So I think the town, I mean, we go to the State House, we talk to Brad Jones, you know, we've tried to get money. I don't see the town side as much, you know, lobbying at the State House for things that the people like Andrew and other people in town are doing. So I think the town commitment is education. That's why people are here tonight.
Good, thank you. I know there were...
Say though, I've been at the State House with members of the Board of Selectmen, so they are rallying with us. And in rallying with us on educational issues, it benefits the whole town. When those monies come to us, it's not directly to the schools, it's to the town. So,
179 people emailed, you know, with Stan and emailed about education and cuts and things like that.
I
Did you
know.
get that wide of a response on another issue, on the window? No.
I know
And
that.
that's, you know, that's the response that we have. We have data from Stan saying how many people signed letters, things like that.
I know they
People
all.
value education, and I wonder if you polled people in town, would they rather you shift this money over onto the education side?
But at the end of the day, they have to come to town meeting and articulate that. And I know you guys share the frustration of there are not 179 people in this room right now. And so we want to bring those people to meeting and educate them about where we are. And I have to iterate Maureen's statement that, you know, the Board of Selectmen and the town side are really coming to the plate, Finance Committee. We are working together, which is a unique thing. You know, I talk to other people on other school committees in other towns that are going through the similar issues that we're going through, and it is very hard to find somebody who's different from the situation that we're going through. And education is a huge priority here. We are a younger community than a lot of the communities that surround us, with a lot of young families, working professionals. You know, I moved here for the same reason, that I want my kids to be educated here, and I haven't even gotten to that part of my life. That's what matters to me. So, you know, we're here and we value those things, but what we need to know is what's of less value. And that is a tough thing, because everything's of value. But determining what we can cut and what people are willing to live with is what we're talking about here. And I think we can make those decisions, and we are, of course, presenting this situation, and we want reaction from the community. And we know it's not going to be a fun decision for anybody. So.
And while we appreciate your support, we work again, and I'm saying the same thing they've said, but with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee to put these budgets together throughout the year. And as Maureen said, the vice chair and the chairs of these committees meet once every couple of weeks to sit down and go through these things. So as much as we appreciate your support, it's not like we're urging people to come in and say, well, geez, let's change the budget on the floor of town meeting. It's not that we know better than you guys, but we've worked really hard on this, and we're trying to get a balance that treats everybody fairly. And again, hopefully, by the time town meeting rolls around, maybe this deficit will be a little bit less than what it is now, too,
Yeah,
through the
we
cooperation
just don't know.
of the various boards. So,
Yeah.
Fairness is one thing, but priority is another.
Right.
Well-
Certainly
And
you
I
don't
think you
want.
asked, what's the town priority here?
Well, that's what I asked, and that's what I wanted to know,
You
yeah.
don't want to come to town meeting and change numbers on the floor. Not
Mhm.
welcome the days leading up to town meeting to contact these board members or to show up at their meetings, because you just throw the whole process into disarray, and that doesn't help anybody. If you've got ideas, if you've got priorities in mind, you need to convey that to them, and they will absolutely take it into consideration. I've never had either the Board of Selectmen or the Finance Committee say, take your opinion and go away. They're all thoughtful. And certainly they have their departments to defend, but they will consider any suggestions or even input as far as priorities. And that that's what we're going to do as a school board. You know, we need to find $324,000 plus unemployment costs in our budget. And in the past, we've always put forward 2 ways for us to meet this deficit. One has been in program reductions, which led to the half-day Wednesdays and the reductions of electives. The only other place you can find your money is to reduce staff, which drives up classroom sizes. And that's the scenario that's here this year. So I'd like to, you know, have some input on reducing the time at the elementary school as an alternative to increasing class sizes if you've got one or the other. And it doesn't have to be what was put forward that year, which was 2.5 hours on Wednesday, which disrupted everybody's life and took programs away from kids. But if this is a long-term problem, and we have to think of a long-term solution and how we deliver services in a different way, could it be palatable that elementary classes had a staggered start time of a half hour a day, or came home a half hour earlier? Is that a different kind of impact? Do they still get some of those electives, but not all of them? Does it minimize the impact on families? Or would you rather see classroom sizes go up? Because we do have to present a budget. We do have to present what will happen. And we want input on what your priorities would be if we have to cut. Yep.
I may be naive in this, but I consistently heard, and the principals might better answer this question, but I've consistently heard class sizes at the little schools seem to be a lot less. So redistricting, does that change the class size issue?
Sure does.
Totally redistricted of the town would not, but we can spot redistrict. But what you have to be careful when you look at the classrooms, and we get the enrollment charts and we look at them, is each one of the elementary schools has a different special ed program where kids are brought into the classroom for service. So while you might see a room with 20, there could be 2, 3, or 4 other kids that are brought in to that class throughout the day. But the committee has the authority to spot redistrict, where we would look at a house that's on the line. I think Jake Swat, I think that happened to you one year. And you say your 4th grader goes to the little because they have room, but your 2nd grader can stay at the batch because it's fine. And we don't like to do that, but in the end, if that's what was best for students in a balanced class, we could do that.
And it might make the difference in possibly 2 elementary school teachers.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
No, we've
the
looked at it.
school, and
Yeah.
My son's going to the kindergarten next year. He's going to be in a half-day program that is out of control, you know, and I'm concerned about that. And it just seems like all the housing, and I'm going to forget the name, Edgewood Apartments, is that the one that's over on the line?
Yeah.
Yep.
They're in the Wood School area, you know, and we were estimating so many kids were coming in from there. And I don't understand why this whole new development couldn't have gone to an area that might have been less, you know, it just seems like the Wood School is bursting at the seams. So for you to say to eliminate a teacher, it just seems unbelievable to think that the numbers could go up even higher in these schools. So
I'm going to defer to one of the elementary principals. Our schools are pretty clearly divided based on their capacity.
And the numbers right now are very, very good, right now.
We have, yeah, there are probably 6 or 7 classes that are over, significantly over at the elementary level, but I do think that
I don't even
maybe
know if there's that many.
each elementary school principal could address.
About the special ed programs and how kids come in and increase those numbers.
It's the kindergarten discussion. We did do some soccer district initiatives for the season. We did take some of the high school students from that particular section of Lowell Road as well. And we did have some parents opt to go with bachelor in that model. So the schools are working together to kind of to alleviate class size. And class size in kindergarten is a concern for the school. We all know that there's 24 kids in a half-day program there, and that's very concerning to all of us.
Marcy and would you like to?
Sorry, I've been waiting at you for a while. I'll address a couple of the questions here. Firstly, and probably not what Karen wants to hear, no cut that affects classroom education for time and learning is acceptable. Our are we a district and a town that are gonna say, oh, we're not at the minimum yet, elementary hours? And I wanna be clear that I will not have an elementary school student next year. Do we wanna have minimum elementary hours? Is that what we're striving for? Is that what's acceptable? Or even going down toward the minimum?
No, we do
No.
not.
Honestly, Maureen was being devil's advocate. We have not even
Yeah.
really broached that as a committee. I mean, so that was something
But I'm
Maureen was
just
throwing
saying,
up. All right.
When you ask,
Yeah.
are larger classrooms acceptable beyond what the school
Right.
committee has set targets for a good reason? No. You know, do I want to say, well, what town service versus what school service is acceptable? No. And I do hear that next year we're having a lower problem. We have Proposition 2.5, which seems to be something like Proposition 1.7% this year. We're, I think, as a town together, and what I would tell you my priority is, and the 3 selectmen sitting here and the 2 finance committee members, is to get expenses and contracts in line with 2.5%. And I would be willing, personally, to support the selectmen and the finance committee and the school committee in whatever they need to do that, because we'll be in this room next year, and when it says 6 teachers, it will say 20 teachers.
Yes.
Yep.
And when it says 3.5 paraprofessionals, it will say 2 dozen.
Yeah.
And, you know, so to talk about 6 teachers, 3.5 teachers, we need to talk about the 11% health insurance costs. We need to talk about the contracts overall that are going to cost the school committee 4 to 6% every year. So my priority is to get that line and for all of us to stand together as citizens of the town on the school side and on the municipal side. So that is what we can afford, or we're going to sit here and pick from columns every year that get more and more hands. So when you ask what my priority is, I'll stand behind you to get those health insurance costs in line. I'll stand behind you like we need at the state level to maintain local aid and to get the flexibility we need to manage within our available means. And that's what we need to do. And if we're looking at a police officer or a teacher or a library hour or an elementary school hour, we're looking at the line.
We had great success with our contracts, and we can't say it enough. The teachers understood and they responded. Our 3-year contract, for those that aren't aware, was a 0%, 1%, and 1.75.
Our teachers took a cut in the first year. They only took the half a step.
Yes.
No, I understand that, but the
And that's-
reality is the expenses are still going up 4 to
Right.
6%.
But just, Sean, just to get to the crux of the matter, Marcy, until all the contracts are torn up and started from scratch, you're never going to get to below 4 to 6% annual increases in the school budget. That's reality.
The difficulty that we have overall is that we have, well, there's 2 parts of the difficulty. One of them is that Prop 2.5, when it started out, was a rational thing to do. It's no longer rational. Everybody denies it, but it's no longer rational. The second part of the problem is that for 2.5, we were supposed to get state aid to education that was supposed to fill it up, or the local aid portion was supposed to fill us up so that we didn't have to rely so much on property tax anymore. The difficulty is if you take Prop 2.5 and you extend it from 1980 to today with a compound rate, you end up with a little bit of an increase. And if you look at the median income, it goes like this. There's a big difference, and we're now at critical problem. We're at critical problem with finances. We're not generating enough revenue to keep things alive. And that's the difficulty. We face it every single year. We're in the same spot. And every one of our town services has been ground down to as small a level as you can get it. The school budget is bare minimum. We are at the bottom. There isn't any place to go. This is ridiculous to cut. Ridiculous. You're taking it out on the kids, on the 20.3% of our population that go to school is where we're taking out the penalty. They're not going to get as much education as they're not getting it all now. We're at the bare minimum, and I can't say that enough times. That's the problem we have.